welcome back to another special Badgers edition of Offensive. We're going to be talking about Luke Fickell again. We're going to be talking about the Badgers' big win over a ranked opponent, a signature win for Luke Fickell finally in year 3 over a good team, over a Big Ten team, over a ranked opponent. So that was a really good game. It was exciting for Badger fans. And then obviously we're going to react to the Indiana game, and I've got some more information for you guys about things McIntosh has said and the recruiting updates and a lot of other things. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this Badgers game against Washington. So, oops, the wrong one. There we go. Okay, let's get into this Badgers game against Washington. So, first of all, 10-13 defensive matchup, cold, sleety, windy, gross day in Camp Randall. Kind of a beautiful football day, if I do say so myself. That definitely helped the Badgers stop the Washington offense. The Badgers defense was great in the sense that these two young linebackers, these two freshman linebackers, were unbelievable in this game. They didn't allow Williams to make a lot of plays. They were in the backfield a lot. The defensive line played very well. The defense was very good in this game. And you could see it right here. Cooper Catalano had 19 total tackles, 12 solo, 1.5 tackles for loss. Posa, who's just a beast, especially at rushing, 11 tackles, 6 solo, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, a pass deflected. I mean, he was all over the place in this game. He was fantastic. Hallman again with some tackles. And again, the defensive line I thought was good in this game. And I actually thought the defensive line was pretty good in the Indiana game as well. So I want to give the defensive line credit. Posa and Catalano also tried their best in the Indiana game. So the front 7 of the defense has actually been pretty decent over the last couple weeks. And over the course of the year, I've actually thought they've been decently good and at least getting rushing pressure on the quarterbacks. But, it only holds up so long when the offense doesn't move the ball. So, again, this was a signature win for Luke Fickell, his first as a coach of the Badgers, seriously, against a ranked opponent. It took a long time to get there, but he finally got one, 13-10 over Washington, who was ranked 23. They walk away with a 3-point win in Camp Randall. Now, you may have thought, hey, this is a jumping point. This is a starting point for, Luke Fickell to turn it around. But if you watch this game, again, the defense is good, but I think you had to know this wasn't sustainable. Even when the first half of the Indiana game, it's 10-7, you watch that game. I mean, we actually came out pretty good, but I think Indiana was just a little hungover from their game last week more than anything else, and you could see that in the second half. But there's a big reason why this wasn't sustainable. So I just want to add this to the stage. Now, this is not me making fun of Smith or anybody else on the offense, but I mean, this kind of tells you how the offense has been this year. Their leading passer was our punter. Yep, West threw for 24 yards in this game, and he was the leading passer for the Badgers. Now, it was a cold, windy, sleety, nasty day, right? So obviously you're going to have some issues, but Simmons was 2 for 3 for 16 yards. Smith was 3 of 12 for 8 yards. So yeah, West was the leading passer in the game for the Badgers. So, I mean, that's just another way to tell you maybe how unsustainable this kind of win was. I mean, the Badgers defense is good, but you cannot hold opponents under 10 points every week, which is pretty much what the Badgers have to do if they want to win a game. So let's look at the stats here. So again, Williams was held in check, 32 passes for 134 yards. Again, cold, windy, slatey day, perfect to help the Badgers. Everything kind of went in their favor that game. 1 TD, 1 interception, 4 sacks. Again, the defensive line did a good job, I felt like, especially, when we were blitzing those middle linebackers. So kudos to the defense. 36 rushes for 153 yards for Washington. But the Badgers, 47 rushes for 189 yards. They actually were doing decently well running the ball. Gideon was running tough all day. Carter Smith made some plays with his legs as well. So, they did what they had to do. And congrats to these kids. And congrats to, yes, I'm going to say it, congrats to Luke Fickell for your first signature win in game 40, or however many it took you, 30-plus games to get there. So, it was a good win. I'm glad the Badgers got a home win. They stopped their Big Ten losing streak, which was a big deal. They stopped their home losing streak, which was a big deal. They finally beat a ranked opponent in Luke Fickell's third year. So, I want to talk a little bit more about the Indiana game, but before I do that, I actually want to talk about the interview that McIntosh did with Wilde and Tausch. So he kind of, if you guys watched it, I'm going to put the link in the description. I really think you guys should watch that interview. Obviously, Tausch played with McIntosh, so he knows him well. Jason Wilde has been, on radio for a long time. He's a well-known personality in Wisconsin. They asked some tough questions. They did get to the root of what a lot of us were curious about. Like, for example, do we have the money to buy out Luke Fickell? Yes or no? McIntosh actually did answer that we do have the money, and he just wants to stick with Fickell, which most of us don't understand why. But he did answer that question, and there's a couple of good things in there. I'll get more into it later. But basically, I heard a couple excuses about injuries and here and there, and a lot of fans, even in the comments, and a lot of people I talk to, just say, well, they've had so many injuries, they've had so many quarterbacks that have gone down. And that's true, but they've had plenty of quarterbacks that they've recruited and they've come in and they just haven't worked out. I haven't seen a single quarterback play well for the Badgers. Even the guys they brought in before they got hurt, I wasn't impressed with at all. So I want to show you a list of all the quarterbacks that have played for the Badgers since Luke Fickell became the coach. So you got Cole LaCrue, who eventually transferred to Eastern Illinois. He wasn't very good. Tanner Mordecai, who had a great career at SMU and had like tons of passing yards, came here. And yes, he got hurt, but he didn't really look the part. He was struggling on offense before he got hurt. And Nick Evers, who was supposed to be a huge transfer from Oklahoma, never saw the field, eventually left for UConn. And then you got 2024 Braden Locke. We all saw that. Did not really work out too well. He transferred out last year. I believe he went to Arizona. Maybe Matt Tower, who was, I think he was a 3-star, maybe a 4-star recruit from Texas, came for a year, transferred out to Sam Houston State, never really saw the field. Tyler Van Dyke, of course, as we all know, went to SMU after he played for the Badgers a couple games. Again, I wasn't super impressed with what I saw from him. And obviously Miami let him go. They brought in Cam Ward, and you saw the difference immediately. Now, Cam Ward is obviously on another level. He's the first overall pick in the draft, but Miami was done with him for a reason. So, and then he's gone to SMU this year, and he's been fairly mediocre as well. So, and then Braden Locke's brother, actually originally had committed to Wisconsin and then decommitted, I think not long after his brother left. Then you got 2025, who brought in Billy Edwards Jr. from Maryland, who got replaced by a freshman, and the freshman was better than him immediately. Danny O'Neill, who's still here from San Diego State. He seems like he might have some talent. He looked pretty good at San Diego State. Still haven't seen it from him here. Carter Smith, who's a freshman, who's struggled mightily. And yes, he's a freshman. And yes, the offensive line is bad. And yes, the running game, we've lost so many guys. It's a struggle. So Carter Smith, wait and see, right? We'll wait and see what he can be. And then, of course, Hunter Simmons, who they originally had recruited, has now decommitted. So, yeah, there's been injuries, but I got to say, I have not been impressed with the quarterback play from anyone in a Badgers uniform in these 3 years. So do you really think if Tanner Mordecai's healthy the whole year, or if Tyler Van Dyke's healthy the whole year, the last 2 years, the Badgers are challenging for the Big Ten? Because I don't think that they are. I don't think they're even close. Yeah, they might have won another game or two. Maybe the Badgers make a bowl last year if Van Dyke stays healthy and they win 6 games. But I got to be honest, watching these games, I don't think it made a huge difference that we lost these quarterbacks all year. And just the fact that McIntosh is using that as an excuse. Every college has injuries, guys. Every college goes through these issues where guys come in, they get recruited, or they transfer in and they go down. And yeah, you're not going to be as good if your starting players are injured. We know that. Every team has that problem, though. And it's not that the Badgers, again, this is what I don't understand. It's not that the Badgers were losing. They were getting destroyed. They were getting absolutely demolished by teams week after week after week after week. You can't tell me that a couple injuries on offense changes you from a competitive team to a team that gets blown out every week. So I really did not like how McIntosh was basically blaming injuries. I just don't like it. And I think that's a terrible excuse. And again, every single college has to deal with this. And from what I saw with my own eyes, even if these quarterbacks are all healthy or even if they all played, do I really think it makes a difference to how good the Badgers are? I don't, honestly. I am not impressed with a single quarterback that they have brought in so far. Again, we didn't even see Evers or Matauer play at all, but I have not been impressed with the quarterback play of a single one of these guys when they put on a Badgers uniform, right? And I was excited for Mordecai, seeing how he performed at SMU. He was just throwing darts down the field. He had a ton of touchdowns, a ton of yards. Didn't translate here, right? Tyler Van Dyke, obviously known for making mistakes, kind of like a Brett Favre, just run and gun, shoot kind of guy. He had one good game, I think, in a Badgers uniform before he got hurt. I think he only played 2 games, maybe 3. But is that really the answer? Was that really the answer? I don't think so. So I don't know what this strategy is because they have not developed a quarterback. They have not developed any one of these guys into a player. Braden Locke had plenty of games, and he just decided to leave, right? LaCrue had some games. He decided to leave, right? I mean, why are we thinking that if these guys are healthy, it's going to make a difference? I hate that excuse. I absolutely hate that excuse from McIntosh, and I don't think the recruiting at the quarterback position has been good enough. I don't think it's been even close to good enough. So there's another thing that McIntosh said during this interview. So basically, he said that Coach Fickell deserves next year to see if he can have a quick turnaround because McIntosh believes that these programs and the way that the NCAA is structured these days, that teams can have a quick turnaround, especially if they're coming back from injuries. Well, my question is, wasn't Fickell supposed to do that year one? Because we were already going down. We were already not having great seasons. This is why we let Paul Chryst go. And then Leonard takes over and does a decent job, and then you decide not to hire him. Didn't you expect Luke Fickell to come in and have an instant impact? I mean, they didn't. They had 7 wins, right? They had 7 wins and then 5 last year, and now this year we're sitting on 3. So, I mean, what has he done that makes you believe he can turn it around quickly? He should have turned it around quickly his first season, and he did not. Okay, and then the second season, he did not. And do not use the quarterback injury excuse. That is such a lame excuse. It's like they haven't even watched the games. So this idea that Fickell can turn it around next year, he deserves the chance to turn it around, I am not buying that at all. I hated that response because, yeah, McIntosh is right, though. You can come in and fix a program quickly. Look at Indiana. Look who we played today, Indiana. They bring in a new coach. He brings in the right transfers. They are number 2 in the country right now. The Badgers bring in Luke Fickell, and it goes downhill. So what is this idea that Luke Fickell can turn it around? I mean, McIntosh is toast. I'm just going to say it. He's done. Because this whole interview, he answered some of the questions. I'll admit he did answer some of the questions, but so much of it, he just deflected. So Tausch asked him, because this is the thing that I brought up in the last video, is like, hey, there's a lot of articles, there's a lot of, information out there that, Luke Fickell isn't doing a good job creating relationships with high school coaches, and he's not recruiting well from the state, which is a fact because they have not recruited well from the state. I showed you the facts in the last video, and McIntosh completely deflected on that. He didn't have any answer. He's just like, yeah, we got to do everything to look at making the program better, blah, 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 blah. It was such a BS response. It was a politician answer. I hated it. So, again, watch this interview, guys, with Wilde and Tausch, because I think that it's informative as to basically, how McIntosh talks, how McIntosh thinks. He's trying to give hard, good answers, and he's not. He's giving politician answers. That's what I heard, and I didn't like it at all. So let's go to the next one. I'm going to actually go into the Indiana game. So the Indiana game started good, 10-7, Indiana. Ooh, we might be in the game. Hey, maybe this is the turnaround. No, because the typical Fickell action happened, which is in the second half, good teams absolutely mollywop the Badgers and take control and just take over the game. Two turnovers for the Badgers, led to 2 touchdowns. Mendoza, who's the real deal? That's what a real quarterback looks like. And yes, I realize he's, again, like Cam Ward, like on the next level kind of guy. But that's the kind of guy Luke Fickell's never going to recruit, by the way. Because a recruit would be crazy to come to Wisconsin to play quarterback for Luke Fickell after seeing what they've done with their quarterbacks they've had. They have not developed or made anyone better. at the quarterback position. Not a single one of these guys have gotten better. In fact, I would say in the case of Locke that he got worse over the time as a quarterback for Luke Fickell. So, okay, I digress. I've already talked about that. So 19 first downs to Indiana, 8 for the Badgers, 2 of 11 on third down, of course, because we can't run the ball or we can't throw the ball, 62 total plays. But again, the Badgers defensive line, 5 sacks, right? The freshman middle linebackers look good. Let's give them their kudos, right? The defensive line, the front 7, again, I thought was pretty good. It's just Mendoza's tough to stop, man. He does this to everybody. He cooked a couple of the cornerbacks, a couple of the defensive backs with just perfect throws, good timing. He's the real deal, guys. Mendoza's the real deal. That's what a real college quarterback looks like. I know you haven't seen one in a very long time, but that's what one looks like. So 5 punts for the Badgers, 4 punts for Indiana. Of course, very low penalties, which was nice to see. And then 2 turnovers, of course, for the Badgers to none for Indiana. So, yeah, this was very much a Fickell game where the defense plays well in the first half. The offense doesn't do a whole lot, but does something at least. And then the second half, they absolutely get raced out of the building because the other coach makes adjustments and the team makes adjustments and they come out and they smash. So, that is to be expected. And to be fair, the Badgers lost by 24 points. I was expecting more like 30, but it was a little better than I expected. Credit to the defense again. The defensive line, I thought, did pretty well. And by the way, Indiana's dealing with a lot of injuries, guys, just like the Badgers are. They had a lot of guys out, and surprise, surprise, they still played well. So, again, injuries are not an excuse in college football. There are enough guys on your roster, and it's up to you to recruit to have a guy, if someone goes down at the quarterback position, to come in and do the job. And, yes, I know there's been 2 quarterback injuries this year, but you guys watched. You've seen these games. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter who's playing quarterback for the Badgers. There's just no offense there. There's no offense there. So, all right, let's move on. Congratulations to Indiana. Honestly, I hope Indiana wins the Big Ten. I know Ohio State's an absolute juggernaut, but you got to kind of cheer for Indiana. They've been so bad at football for so long, and now they're finally good because they hired the right coach who brought in the right players and turned the program around quickly. Didn't take him 4 years. And by the way, Luke Fickell's not going to turn the program around next year. So McIntosh basically said, yeah, we got the money to get rid of Fickell. We've got the money. I could do it if I want, but I stand behind Luke Fickell and I believe in Luke Fickell. And it's like, okay, you signed a death warrant. Thank you for coming out and admitting that and saying that. And now when you're both gone after next year, it will be well-deserved. It will be well-deserved because I honestly think Fickell, he'll be back next year. They'll be terrible again. And he'll lose his job, and I think McIntosh goes with him. I think that's the right play now. I've defended McIntosh time and time again. Thought he's done some things well, but again, after his letter that I talked about last week, and then after listening to this interview, he's just a politician. He can go. Bye-bye. All right, let's talk about something else. So these are the recruits. I brought this up a couple videos ago. I told you guys I wanted to give you an update. So there is one new recruit, Quantavious Wiggins, running back, 3-star recruit from Georgia, has committed as of 11/11. Ooh, lucky numbers. 2 running backs in this class, definitely need those. Again, Petit, the wide receiver, 4-star, still here. D lineman, edge, tight end, quarterback, still there. Good, thank you for the comments again, guys. Someone out of California said Hopkins at Mater Day is the real deal. And if you guys have never heard of Mater Day, they are a legit powerhouse of high school football. So legit powerhouse. So if you're a quarterback there, you definitely know how to play. So so Ryan Hopkins, hopefully he sticks around. And again, I'm not trying to hate on Carter Smith. I know he's a freshman, but he's a 4-star recruit. Hopefully he's good. I'm not saying I don't have faith that Carter Smith can play. I'm saying I don't have faith that Luke Fickell and his staff can develop Carter Smith, because I haven't seen them develop a single quarterback. In fact, every single quarterback that has played for Fickell, whether a transfer or played for them multiple years, in the case of Locke, has looked worse with the Badgers than they looked anywhere else. Think about it. Okay. And then I wanted to go over some of the other ones. So here's the other recruits that are in. So Ben Wessel down there on the bottom is the only Wisconsin recruit so far this year. 3-star linebacker out of Appleton. Shout out to Appleton. D-line, interior offensive line, Benjamin Novak. Cornerback, another wide receiver. Another quarterback, Devon Dunmore from California. Offensive line again. From Richmond, Virginia, Maddox Cochran, and Jack Jonda, another tight end. So, like, I like the positions they're going for. I will definitely say that. We definitely need interior offensive line really bad. Definitely need cornerback really bad because we got a lot of guys that are been there for a little while, including Ricardo Hallman, who's going to leave after this year. So definitely want to see them attack those lines of scrimmage. And again, in the Tausch interview, he, because he's an offensive lineman, McIntosh was an offensive lineman. They asked him, like, hey, what's the plan to fix the offensive line? Madison or the Badgers are known as offensive line U, which was true. And he kind of just deflected. He said, yeah, I love the offensive line, blah, 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 blah. Like, not a whole lot of meat and potatoes there. Just again, a politician answer. So, but again, please watch that. Please, I'll put the link in the description. Like I said before, please watch that YouTube interview. I think it's good for you guys to hear McIntosh's voice and what he has to say and how he has to say it, because I can tell you, I was defending him before and I pretty much lost complete faith in him. To turn this program around. So when Fickell goes and when he goes, I'm not going to be sad about it anymore. So definitely worth a watch. But guys, again, the Badger program is in dire straits. We got one signature victory under Fickell, beat Washington at home. That was great. Go back to Indiana as expected. They're the number 2 team in the country. They fought for the first half. But like always in most of these games against good teams, the second half, the Badgers get dominated. And we got a couple games coming up in the next few weeks that I really want to win because, I really want to beat Minnesota. I really want to beat Minnesota. We all know the battle for the axe is coming up. But they got Illinois, who we all know who their coach is, Bellama, coming in. And then we've got Minnesota after that. So, yeah. Badgers can't make a bowl. That's obviously not going to happen. But these are right now, probably the 2 biggest rivals for the Badgers, just in where we're at, which is Minnesota and Illinois, excuse me. It'd be nice to win those 2 games. Do I expect to win those games? No, I do not. Even this Washington game, like I said, everything kind of went the Badgers' way in that game, and the defense played fantastic. And I'm excited to see what these freshman linebackers do. I am impressed with the way the defensive line has played, but the offense just doesn't have enough to get it done. So I'm not expecting a lot in these next 2 games. And now that we know we are stuck with Fickell next year. I just don't expect anything to improve, and I expect it to look exactly the same. I believe the Washington game was an outlier more than an actual change in the direction of the program. But I will say this. At least the kids are playing hard. It looks like that has at least improved. So good job to the young kids. Good job to the linebackers. Again, I just want to throw up this game stat. Catalano and Posta were all over the field in the Washington game. And I thought they played pretty well in the Indiana game too, honestly. So that is something to hold your hat on. Hopefully they stick around. Hopefully they don't transfer out. But we'll see what happens next week. Again, sorry I didn't have a video last week, but I really wanted to kind of like take in the Washington game. And then when the Tausch interview happened, I really wanted to kind of respond to that. So we're stuck with Luke Fickell, guys, for another year. So get used to it. And just do the best you can to be hopeful. But, hopefully he's gone sooner than later because it's probably going to look like this next year too. So thank you again for watching, everybody. Hopefully the Badgers look better. But anyway, like and comment and subscribe. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And on Wisconsin.